A few of you have asked me for instructions on how to cook the steaks that I cook, so I decided I'd make a little video and show you exactly how I make it. Here is everything you will need to cook the steak. I have just some olive oil, sea salt, black pepper, got some thyme, fresh garlic cloves, skin on is fine, and some butter. Also need a saute pan or frying pan just like this. This is a 12-inch stainless steel bottom. The most important thing of cooking a good steak is selecting a good steak. This one here is USDA Prime, and I got it from H-E-B. Is a good place to get USDA Prime steaks, and that's the most important thing of having a good steak. We've got our steak sitting, and it's about 15 minutes set, but before we start cooking it, I wanted to show you a little tip on how to know when your steak is ready. So if you take your hand and you touch this finger is rare. So if you take that, and I'm holding the phone, but if you touch this with your other hand, that feeling right there when you're doing this is a rare steak. So you have medium rare, medium well, raw. And see how you can see the tightening in my thumb, how tight that meat's going to feel. That's how you know if it's well done. So we want about medium rare. So if you take that and get a feeling for it, then you'll know how to touch your steak and tell when it's done. Okay, our 20 minutes is up, so now we're ready to cook. So I have my olive oil here, and I have my pan. Now the first thing you want to do is you want to turn that on high heat. If it's not on high heat, and the pan needs to be hot. You might think it's too hot, but it needs to be sizzling hot, otherwise your steak's going to boil and not sear. Okay, so our pan is hot. How do I know? I can take some water on my hand, splash it on there, hear that sizzle, that means your pan's hot. You want to let that water go away, because if you get the oil on it, it's going to smoke up real bad. So I'll take some oil, just kind of coat the pan with it right there. Just get a nice little base coat on the bottom here. And then you're going to take your steak, and you want to do the fat part in the back, and just lay it away from you. Hear that sizzle? You want to hear that good sizzle there, because that lets you know the steak is going to sear and not boil. And you want to lay the steak away from you, because if you lay it towards you, you might get splashed with oil. So you want to go there, and you want to make sure you have a decent coat here on the bottom. Might put a little oil on here, just to make sure nothing's burning and it's all searing. Now you want to do this, let it sit on each side for 2 minutes. So I know it's going to seem like you're burning it, but you're really not. So you're just going to let that sear just like that for 2 minutes on one side. Okay, so we've let that sit for 2 minutes. Now we're going to take it and just flip it over to the other side. And that's awfully burnt. Fantastic. Just pretend like that's not burnt, okay? And we'll let that sit. Fantastic. Just ruin the whole thing. So now this other side is cooked. Hopefully it's not burnt. And we'll take it over. Awesome. It's nice and burnt. Fantastic. Put some more oil in there. Get that settling a little bit. It's not as easy as it looks. So we'll take this side of this fat here, and we'll turn that up on its side to caramelize the fat pretty good. So we'll take that, let that sit for a second. Just nice and caramelizing right there. This steak will still be edible, it's just going to be a little charred on the outside. So we'll take that, and then do the same thing for the other side. Just let it sit for just a second. Caramelize that fat that's there on the end. So now we want to take our butter and throw in our ow! Fudge! That's the wrong time. Everything's wrong. Take some of our thyme, put it in there. And our garlic. And we want to let that simmer real good. That for a second. We want to take this garlic here, kind of rub it all along the steak there. Get those juices on it. I'll take it, do the other side. Now we want to tilt up our pan, and we're going to, as it's tilt up, we want to take that butter and just baste it over the steak, right, just like that. So hopefully, if you're doing it right, nothing is burning. So you want to take it and just baste it like that. Get it nice, going good. And then you want to touch your steak and see how it's coming out, okay? So our steak is clearly nice and cooked. We're going to turn the off, take this out, place it on our plate here with some foil on it, and then we're going to wrap it up. And you want to let that sit for a good 5 minutes. You really want it to sit for 5 minutes so that your steak will let those juices re-release out there, and so it should all taste here great. Is the final product after it's rested for about 4 or 5 minutes. We have our nice medium rare steak. It's a little done on the outside, but I'll explain that in a minute. So here's my final product. I added a mushroom garlic red wine reduction sauce with a little bit of thyme on top, and that's my final product, but that will have to be a different video. Okay, so I want to explain why the steak was burnt when I flipped it over. The reason is because my stove in my apartment sucks donkey butt, and it's at an angle, and so while I was holding the camera, I wasn't able to maneuver the pan enough to keep the oil under and on the steak. It ended up just sitting in a corner without having any oil on it. But if there's no oil on it, it will burn like that. The steak was still edible. I think it was, just a little too charred for my liking on the outside, but on the inside it was still perfect, medium rare. So, yeah, that's what happened. So as long as you hopefully have a level stove and you can pay attention to it and aren't trying to work a camera at the same time, it should come out just right. I've probably cooked around 30 of these steaks, and that's the first time it's ever happened, so I could only believe that it was because I had the unfortunate bad luck of trying to make a video, which is typically how things go.